Hey guys, welcome back to the Truth Factor. We did a stream this morning and a couple of things coming out. Wanted to go ahead and bring to you. Um, one, we have an article for Israeli ship being hijacked by Yemen. I think there's like 22 hostages. One paper said more than that, 55 or something, but I think the majority of them are repetitive in the same number. So I'm going with 22. I think that's what this end time, end time has 22. And we also have parts of the Appalachian closed due to wildfire. Hold on, guys. Hello?
Is this Renee?
It is.
Renee, hi, this is Connie.
Hold on just a second. Hold on, guys. Just a second. I'm sorry, guys. We got a phone call just as I went live, and I didn't recognize the number. And thought it was important. It was semi-important, but I have to call him back. So anyway, sorry about that. that's not ever happened before. I normally let the phone ring, right? But I'm kind of glad I took the call. Anyway, hello there, Team Angel, and thank you so very much. And Daryl, how are you? And Kelly, in the Middle East. I don't know that I've seen it or not, Kelly. I'm not 100. I can't say, but I'll look it up though. I will check them out. Anywho, I'm so sorry, Team Angel. Anyway, we have just a couple of articles, and I wanted to bring them to you guys. As I was saying before we got the phone call, we were talking about the Israeli ship that's been hijacked by Yemen Houthis, and then parts of the Appalachian Trail is closed due to fires, and then we had an explosion rock U.S. bases in Syria and reduce your emissions. Now, the explosion article I found after, so I'll drop that link in the chat over here, and I'll probably pin it in the comment section after this video ends. But let's get right into these articles, guys. I know y'all got lots of things to do, and we just trying to get this stuff out to you. Here we have from End Time Headlines, Israeli ship with 22 on board hijacked by Yemen's Houthi militia in the Red Sea. An Israeli ship named Galaxy Leader has reportedly been hijacked by Yemen's Houthi militia in the Red Sea. The ship had 22 people on board, according to reports. Israeli sources said the Houthi seized the vessel, partially owned by Israel, in the Red Sea. No Israeli nationals were on board the ship, according to the sources. Earlier on Sunday, Yahya Sarah, a spokesperson for the Iranian-backed Houthi, said the group would target all ships owned or operated by Israeli companies or carrying the Israeli flag, according to the group's Telegram channel. Sarah called on all countries to withdraw their citizens working on the crews of any such ships. On Tuesday, the leader of Houthis had warned that his forces would make further attacks on Israel and that they could target Israeli ships in the Red Sea and the Bab al-Mandab Strait. Our eyes are open to constantly monitor and search for any Israeli ship in the Red Sea, especially in Bab al-Mandab and near the Yemeni regional waters, Abdulmalik al-Houthi said in a broadcast speech. The Houthis have made several missiles and drone attacks against Israel this month, highlighting the risk of the war between Israel and Palestinian militant groups, Hamas, spreading into the wider Middle East. The Houthis, who have been at war against the Arab-led coalition since 2015, have emerged as a major military force in Arabian Peninsula with tens of thousands of fighters and a huge arsenal of ballistic missiles and armed drones. And then we have, we'll go ahead and we'll jump over here to this article. Explosion rocks the U.S. bases in East Syria. It actually happened yesterday, but this has got today's date on it. Anyway, Damascus, November 18th, explosions rocked the Conoco gas plant, which is based in the U.S. forces as a base on Saturday night in Syria's eastern province of Deir el-Zor. Following a missile attack, a war monitor reported there were no reported human casualties or damage despite the blast, marking the second such incident of the day, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. Earlier in the explosion, it resonated in the vicinity of the U.S. base in the Al-Tanf area in southeastern Syria, said the Britain-based watchdog group. It added that the U.S. forces intercepted drones launched by a militant group named the Islamic Resistance in Iraq, heading toward the Al-Tanf base located near the Syrian-Iraqi-Jordanian border triangle. At least one drone was brought down approximately 3 kilometers from the base. Meanwhile, the pro-government Sham FM radio reported intense sounds of explosions coming from the Conoco gas field northeast of Deir el-Zor. It said the attacks carried out by pro-Iranian fighters in Iraq and Syria are believed to be part of a series of retaliatory moves against the U.S. forces amid the ongoing Israel-Hamas conflict in the Gaza Strip. Now, guys, we did this morning report, in case you guys missed it, there is some kind of ceasefire, I guess, potential in the making there. They're talking about a 5-day break, I believe, that's possibly going to take place. We'll just continue to keep our eyes and ears open and pray that it does, so that they can get needed help and humanitarian types of things taken care of over there. And done by Christians. Okay, thank you, Kelly. I have, I'll tell you, I was watching, speaking of movies, Kelly, I was watching the new Left Behind with Kevin Sorbo, and I can't think of the other guy's name that's in it, but I was watching it last night and I fell asleep because it was kind of long, but it's the newer one. And anyway, it was pretty good. And I thought it was very telling because it kind of goes along the same narrative that we see things taking place right now. It was the rise of the Antichrist, I think, is the Left Behind technical series. If you get a chance to watch it, I'll tell you, it was a really good movie. I hear you, Daryl. I hear you, brother. It is absolutely crazy. It is indeed. And Hercules with Left Behind. Yeah, I know. Kind of a great big what do we want to say? Change there for him when he started out as Hercules, or at least that's what I remember him as. But he's been doing a lot of Christian movies. I'll tell you, probably my favorite one is the something the light that has him in it called, I don't know, Let There Be Light or The Light. And it was really good. Let's see if I can find it before the end of this. Is misinformation? Yeah. Zero Hedge was reporting it, and I think even End Time Headlines had something on it coming. Hello, Joni. How are you? And welcome. Let's see if I can bring it up. Here we go. Here is this. Then we have, I think there was one in Zero Hedge this morning. France Dispatching. See. Here it is. Okay. Now these are not in the description in the box below, guys. These two articles. Now I did cover this morning, and since we have Kelly saying that Netanyahu is saying that the 5-day ceasefire is misinformation. Let's see what we can grab also from Times of Israel, because I do like to get stuff from the Israeli news. I'm not seeing any talk about it on here. And you would think that it would be streaming on all of the headlines if it was. Yeah, I'm not. And the PM says, okay, so here we go. We want to make sure we have the most accurate information. And this was today at 12:01. So, so I guess everybody got it wrong, or maybe wishful thinking on our part, because we want to report that there's some kind of peace deal or something going to happen, soon. But again, it doesn't look like that is the case. But we did have quite a few sources. I think I had actually covered the. I don't know if it was the End Time Headline story this morning or Zero Hedge, but there was more than one source saying that. But then you go and you look at the Times of Israel, and we do have a retraction, I guess you could say. So let's take a look at these articles, guys, and thank you for that update, Kelly, so much. I appreciate it. Hello, Rage Against the Machine. How are you? Hello, Joe Potter. How are you, brother? And Pastor Sam. Nice to see you guys. Unless they let all the hostages go. I gotcha. We'll take a look at it. We want to have the most, we want to have the truth. It doesn't matter who reports what. I don't care. They can all report one thing, because obviously they're here to report a narrative, and so sometimes that narrative gets twisted and misguided and all kinds of other stuff. And so, but that's interesting. So we'll take a look at all of it. Yep. It's crazy, isn't it? Anyway, so where were we at, guys? I guess let's go ahead and talk about this really quick. Okay, so here you can see this was the End Time Headlines one. U.S. close to making a deal with Israel and Hamas to pause conflict and free some hostages. It says they're close to an agreement on the U.S. brokered here. Here we have Israel and Hamas reach a tentative 5-day pause to free hostages. So here it says they reached it. But let's take a look at what the Prime Minister Netanyahu does say about it. He says, bucking the intel pressure against Gaza op stresses no hostage deal as of now. Netanyahu gallant vow that the IDF will track down Hamas operatives in the south of the Strip outside the enclave. Gantz war ends only when we can guarantee security. Bring the boys and girls home. Prime Minister Netanyahu on Saturday said there was a heavy international pressure against Israel war on Hamas as he pledged to continue pressing the military campaign in Gaza until the terror group is overthrown and the hostages it seized are returned. Speaking during a lengthy press conference, Netanyahu also dismissed a lot of incorrect reports about an imminent agreement to free some or all of the roughly 240 people being held, adding that as of now, there is no deal. He said that if a deal emerges, the Israeli public will be updated. We are marching with you. I am marching with you. All of the people of Israel are marching with you, he said, referring to the 5-day march that families of the hostages undertook from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, ending Saturday, adding that he invited families of hostages to meet with the war cabinet in the coming week. The premier was later asked if he had passed up a serious deal on Tuesday for a release of some 50 hostages, and if he was insisting that all be released. Netanyahu responded that there was no deal on the table and he could not elaborate further. We want to get all the hostages, he said. We're doing the utmost to bring back the most impossible, including in stages, and we are uniting on this. We obviously want to bring home whole families together, he added. Later, as Netanyahu was to speak, families of the hostages held in Gaza on the thousands of their supporters demonstrated at Tel Aviv's Hostage Square in a rally focused in particular on some 40 children believed held in hostage in Gaza. To coincide with Monday's World Children's Day, most of the speakers were relatives of the children being held by Hamas and other terrorist groups since the October 7th massacre. Many of the families of the hostages headed straight to Tel Aviv after completing a 5-day march to Jerusalem earlier in the day, which culminated in the protest outside the Prime Minister's office in Jerusalem late Saturday. Several hundred people gathered on Jerusalem Kaplan Street near the Knesset for a silent rally paying homage to some 1,200 people killed by the terrorists last month and praying for the hostages. The gathering, organized by Shamam Al-Habiyat Hamasht, Safeguarding Our Joint Home, which used to run protest against the government's planned judicial overhaul, was quiet without drums and bullhorns. Anyway, so apparently Kelly was correct in her report that it has reported that it was misinformation, as we will call it. So thank you again, Miss Kelly, and I will share this link. We will not care too much about the other two. And let's see. Alrighty. And let's go on and we will continue with this. Parts of the Appalachian Trail closed as wildfire rages across the U.S. Southeast. Parts of Virginia, North Carolina, and Tennessee are experiencing severe drought and wildfires. This has led to the closure of certain sections of the Appalachian Trail due to hazardous conditions. The latest weekly data from the U.S. Drought Monitor shows large swaths of the Southeast are in exceptional to severe drought. The EPA Air Now fire detection map shows dozens of wildfires stretching from Oklahoma to Mississippi and all the way up to the mid-Atlantic region. Multiple wildfires in Virginia and North Carolina forced the U.S. Forest Service to close parts of the Appalachian Trail. The Hill explains which parts of the trail are closed. A Friday release by Forest Service in the George Washington and Jefferson National Forest and the National Integrity Fire Center Southern Area Incident Management Red Team announced a closure of the Blue Ridge Parkway from the milepost 66.3 near the US 501 to milepost 85.9 at VA Route 43 until further notice in relation to Matt Creek Fire. The release of Matt's Creek Fire also set a section of the Appalachian Trail from James River Foot Bridge to Petite's Gap Road was closed in relation to a wildfire. The U.S. Forest Service in North Carolina noted another portion of the trail from Interstate 40 to Max Patch was being closed in relation to Black Bear Fire. The announcement was made in Facebook post Friday. The Mats Creek Fire and the Black Bear Fire were 2% and 0% contained, respectively, according to officials. The Mat Creek Fire is significantly larger than the Black Bear Fire, having a coverage of 5,148 acres versus Black Bear's 1,193 acres. Shenandoah National Park also said a vehicle fire had spread into the park and caused a closure of the trail. The Appalachian Trail is closed from Jarman Gap, mile 98.6, to Rockfish Gap, mile 105, due to wildfire. Shenandoah National Park posted Friday on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, and the Hill X users shared dramatic scenes of the wildfire. And I guess you can see the picture there. Wow. If you've noticed the smell of smoke outside, you're not alone. It's not from the Canadian wildfires this time. It's from Virginia and North Carolina, transported by a gusty south-southwest wind, and the yellow dots show an air quality issue for very sensitive people. Wow. A surreal moment watching a wildfire run down a mountain in Virginia. I watched Matt Creek's fire from the spot on Route 501 for a few hours last night. The sky was orange as 10-foot flames advanced through the canyon. And then here's the State College smelling smoke. Where are Greta and corporate progressive media blaming climate change? I don't know. But here we have reduce your emissions within 2 months or face the consequences. Brussels tells 12 members. The European Commission has ordered Hungary, Romania, and 10 other member states to comply with the EU air pollution legislation and reduce their emissions of several pollutants to reduce air pollution. The EU executive sent a letter of a formal notice to Luxembourg, Poland, and Romania, and reasoned opinion to Bulgaria, Ireland, Cyprus, Latvia, Lithuania, Hungary, Austria, Portugal, and Sweden for failing to ensure the correct implementation of their commitments to reduce several air pollutants as required by Directive EU 216/2284 on the national emission reductions of certain air pollutants, the NEC directive. The NEC directive sets national emissions reduction commitments for 5 important air pollutants: nitrogen oxide, non-methane volatile organic compounds, sulfur dioxide, ammonia, and fine particle matter. These pollutants contribute to poor air quality and have a significant negative impact on human health and the environment. The European Commission noted in a press release national commitments must be met by each member state every year between 2020 and 2029, with an ambitious reduction from 2030 onwards. Member states are also required to establish national air pollution control programs to show how these reduction commitments will be met. In January 2023, Brussels sent a letter of formal notice to 14 member states that had not met their 2020 emissions reduction commitments for one or more pollutants. The European Commission is sending additional letters of formal notices to Luxembourg, Poland, and Romania, which have 2 months to respond and remedy the shortcomings identified. Well, what do they think they're going to do if they don't respond? I guess kick them out of the EU. I guess that would be the logical guess here. There's no crying in baseball. No, there's not. Hello, Miss Joni. How are you? Anyway, guys, that is what we have for you this afternoon. Just I'm glad that Kelly was here this afternoon to give us this update about the misinformation, because absolutely, she was correct. I don't, those two places are really usually good, Zero Hedge and End Time Headlines, but they got it wrong, and they're just going with whatever mainstream media, because I think the Washington Post was referenced in one of those articles. But it is what it is, right? We want to make sure we get the right information. And so we're glad to hear there's no deal been made. I guess we're glad to hear, not really glad. I really do wish that there would be a deal made, and I will be praying for that. Just it's a horrible mess over there. And I agree that people have the right to defend themselves, but when you're killing children, it's kind of hard to sit back and not be concerned, Anyway, I stand with God's word and pray for, the peace of Jerusalem, and I pray for their salvation as well. So it's really a bad thing, and we will continue to pray for them. But we're also praying for the children, guys. So that being said, that is what I have for you today, guys. I hope the rest of your day is wonderful and blessed. And if anything else breaks, guys, I will bring it to you as quickly as I can. I am kind of, I caught that explosion on the RSOE event list, because I didn't see it floating around anywhere about the base explosion thingy, but there was no foul, I guess, because there was no injuries, which is a good thing. But it kind of is it's upsetting to hear about all of these bases that we have outside of the United States being attacked, and it seems like, are we doing enough to protect our men, or do we just need to pull out of those situations? I mean, I don't know. But I think that I think we cannot just sit back and let our bases be blown up, or let these things continuously happen. I think we need to be more proactive here, in protecting these bases. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I just feel bad for these people that they don't ever know when a missile's going to come in, and they hate Americans over there. It's just horrible. But we'll be praying for them as well a little bit later. I hope you guys will join me for prayer later. Really need to kind of just press in here and be in prayer as much as you can. Anyway, it's all Benghazi. It's I think it's worse than Benghazi in so many, with the exception, what makes Benghazi bad is the order to stand down. I don't know. We haven't heard of anybody being given an order to stand down, but I think if we're not handling our stuff and we're allowing this, I think that's a travesty, So we'll see how this progresses, and we'll just try and stay searching for the truth. As we can see, we can get 2 and 3 articles reporting the same thing, but it still be misinformation. So, and they're from sources that we trust, but again, they still report from other mainstream media, and there's that propaganda, unit to it. They want to hit their narrative. And so we don't want a narrative. We want the truth, right? That's what the Truth Factor is about. So thank you again, Miss Kelly, for that heads up. And I'll just have to, I guess, start double checking the Times of Israel, make sure that there's not something else being reported. Anyway, God bless y'all. I love you. Have a wonderful, blessed Sunday. Bye.